All right, guys, this is the final segment of my interview with Matt Garry, an Airbnb expert. And in this interview, he's going to be specifically talking about what I need to do to make my Airbnb as powerful as possible and hopefully destroy the cash flow that I was getting from my long-term tenants at about $2,150 a month and get a little closer to what he's getting, which is around $5,000 to $8,000 a month. That's a type of increase in cash flow that you just can't pass up. Even though it's not guaranteed, I at least have to give it a shot. Hopefully you like this interview. Stay tuned and let me know down in the comment section if you had any questions for my buddy Matt, because I'd love to have him back on and talk more things short-term rentals. So I want to ask some questions and I want to explain to you about what my property's like. Because I'm leaning towards this. Oh, you know what? One more topic. I want to talk about your startup costs.
Yeah.
So not only did you have to, a lot of real estate investing channels and real estate investing advice is centered around how to buy the property, make sure the cash flows and blah. But when it comes to those numbers, most people are thinking of long term where you don't fully furnish the property. Then you had to fully furnish this, all the furniture, the remodeling, the custom built TV screens, the hot tub, all these different things. So what were your startup costs?
Oh, you're going to love this.
Okay.
You're going to love this because to back up, choose FI, Tacoma FI, financial independence. I've been in that world for a long time, okay? Years ago, I discovered credit card churning. Mm-hmm. And if you've never talked about credit card churning, or if you don't know what that is, that's basically where you get a credit card that has a bonus to it, whether it's a free, you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months and you get a free ticket somewhere. Mm-hmm. That's the most common one that airlines have. Right. However, once you do that, and you get quite a few of those things, of course, your credit score goes up, way up, and you get higher credit limits and that type of thing. And then you start to get the really good credit card offers, including the 0% APR offers.
Right.
Okay. So suddenly you basically buy an entire house worth of furniture and have the guests, when they start coming, pay off that credit card. Right. So that aspect of it, zero.
Right.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Zero is my startup cost. Okay. All right. That being said, there were numbers involved, and but those numbers, like I said, that wasn't an out of pocket cost that way. It was actually pretty genius that way, because I also had to put some fencing in and so my costs. Let's see. So to fix up the house and get it ready, and painting, and place was hideous on the inside. $15,000, and then it was another $15,000 or so to furnish it.
Okay.
So like I said, it's a 4-bedroom house and it's got nice stuff in it. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure I could have done it cheaper. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I didn't need to put in here. Like I have a record player in here, but people go, hey kids, this is a record player.
It adds to the ambiance.
And that's right. And I went and bought I went to Goodwill and found like old the records had to exist in 1962. Right. And so it's got, tiny bubbles and like classic records that aren't particularly good if you're not into that thing. But it's one of those things that people think is neat. They show their kids, they'll play them. People tell me they play them while they're listening, while they're eating dinner. And it also is a Bluetooth speaker. Okay, nice. So because Bluetooth speakers are something that is advantageous to have, so might as well kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. I have 2 fireplaces in this house. I don't want fire bad. Right. Okay. Yes. You don't want guests to have fire in any way whatsoever, unless it's outside in a fire pit, which I have as well. But I didn't want fire in the house, so I went and bought these plug-in fireplace light heaters. Okay. So they're about $100 or so on Amazon, and it works off of remote control, and it looks like fire, and it actually shoots like the reflective light onto the back of the fireplace. And then it also has a heater if they want it in the wintertime, but it also is behind a screen. Right. So unless you're looking really closely, you wouldn't even know that it wasn't real. But it keeps real fire out of the fireplace and keeps them from burning the house down.
Smart, very smart. So a couple things that you furnished in here that you would have kept, that you wouldn't have kept. Is there anything that you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have bought that. That was dumb.
There really hasn't been anything. I haven't been too, okay, well, I'm not too happy with the kitchen table and chairs. Okay. So when I bought the property, the people that bought this house coincidentally had mid-century modern furniture that they had left because they were moving cross country. Okay. So they had kitchen table and chairs. They were pretty scratched up, pretty beaten up, but I was able to use that when the place first opened because it was in theme. And I'm like, okay, that's great. They're pretty scratched up. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, after a month or so, after I could get to that point, I actually bought from Amazon a kitchen table and chairs that look amazing. They look cool. They match. Garbage. Absolute garbage.
Low quality?
Because stuff nowadays isn't made to last. Right. It's made to be replaced. While furniture, that anyone will tell you this, furniture in the 60s and all that kind of stuff, just like houses were built by such good quality back in the day that you would buy something and it would last forever. Yeah. You wouldn't replace a couch, you would refinish a couch. And that's just one thing where I'm like, it just feels cheap to me. It looks great. Yeah. Customers don't mind it. Customers like it, but it's just cheap to me. And so I'm gonna put a real solid 1960s table and chair. It's actually probably the one that was in here that I still have in my garage. I just have to refinish the whole thing, and then it's going to look beautiful, and then people are going to like that even more. Other than that, there haven't been things. People steal things, but they've all been pretty minor. I have a lot of really cool throw blankets that are all mid-century modern, funny. Okay. In the tiki room, I have a throw blanket that is jungle themed, and people just take them home with them, and I charge them. But it's one of those things because they don't know most of the time. They just put it in their bag. They think their husband or wife brought it, and they put it in their bag and it's gone. Other than that, no, I've been really happy with everything about some of the lights that I've put outside because it's dark in Bonnie Lake at night. A lot of solar powered lights I put all over the place. Solar powered works great in the summer in Washington after 10 p.m. Yeah. All right. The wintertime, garbage. Yeah, they don't do anything. They might turn on and it's just, if you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, that light's on. They don't shine on anything. So yeah, definitely, at least in Washington, wire things up. Yeah. Solar don't do that.
Yeah, I always wonder when people put them on their roofs, and I'm like, bro, it rains here for 9 months.
Yeah. Terrible investment.
Was this a good purchase right here? Okay. All right. So my property, let me explain it to you. It's a so first of all, I live in a duplex. Okay. And I live in one half the duplex. I don't plan to move. So I'm going to Airbnb out the other half. It's a 3-bed, 1.5 bath. There's only one shower. The half bath is just a toilet and a sink. Okay. So that limits, I would imagine, the amount of people that can be in there.
3-bedroom, you want 6 people.
Right. I was thinking probably no more than 6. So a 3-bed, 1.5 bath. I do have a little deck. I want to put a little hot tub on it. I think that's a good idea. Okay. I thought that was a good little comfort. Now I am even closer to the lake than you. I am 30-second walk to the lake. Okay. So one of the added experience items I thought about including was, hey, I'm going to put 2 kayaks there. 2 kayaks with life vests, or the alternative would be an inflatable paddleboard. So I don't know if you've seen those. $350 for an inflatable paddleboard. Include a little air pump. They can walk down there, pump it up, whatever. Because a lot of people love to go out on the lake and love to do that type of stuff. I have no idea what I would charge a night other than I just go on Airbnb. And it sounds like I shouldn't even make the estimate. I should just let Price Labs make the estimates for me.
Yeah, because it's a hard thing to sell. So can you see the water?
You can't. I'm surrounded by trees just like this. Okay. But you walk through the trees for 30 seconds, right there.
Would this kayak be realistic for one person to carry that distance?
So that's a good question. Probably not. And that's where I think maybe the inflatable paddle boards, because that just rolls up, fits in your hand almost. Okay. And then you bring the little pump that I would include.
Okay, so this is going to get arguments from people online because a lot of the Airbnb people will say, that is a massive liability. Right. You're going to kill someone, and they're going to sue you. Okay, I don't subscribe to that. I think people think everybody is sue happy, even though they're not. Right. And so no one's going to get killed by this kayak. No one's going to sue you. So don't worry about people suing you. If you want to do something that makes your property stand out, do that thing. All right. If the thing that really sells your property is the fact that you can be just a short walk there, right? Great. There's also the capability, since you are there, maybe to somehow help with that. For example, you become their concierge of going to the water. And you're like, hey, you want to go down to the shore tomorrow? Just like you would actually see at a bed and breakfast, that they say, yeah, we're going to go down at 10 o'clock in the morning. Great. I'll meet you down there and the kayaks will be ready for you. Perfect. And then when you're done, just leave them at this one spot. Come and get me or come text me and I'll come get them for you.
Right.
That's high end.
Yeah.
Because now you're a concierge and they're like, wow.
I like that.
That is a cool property because I didn't have to carry that stupid thing to 30 feet or 300 feet or whatever. Someone else did it for me. If that's realistic. If that's realistic.
It is.
But having concepts of like that of, okay, what can I do for the problems and getting it from point A to point B is a problem. How do I figure out that problem? Right. There's one way to figure out that problem.
I really like that concierge thing because I think, like you said, what the overarching theme that I think I've learned from you when we've been talking is the more you focus on curating an experience for the tenant. And if we have 2 kayaks with life vests and I will take them in my truck. You want it at 10 a.m.? They'll be there at 9:55. And whenever you're done with them, you just text me and they'll be picked up. You just leave them right here. That's smart. I like it.
And,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And when you get back, I'll have a nice cold glass of lemonade for you. Or something like
Very
that.
Smart.
Or, if you can think kind of like, because you happen to be in a unique situation of being at the property, if you can think like a bed and breakfast would think a little bit. Some people don't like bed and breakfast, but a lot of people have never been to one before, and they haven't quite seen the perks that come with them, like that. If you're like, and even better if you surprise them with that. If they came back and you're like, oh, by the way, I have this table set out on the back deck with you with some fruit and a couple of beers that I found from a local place or whatever, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is the greatest place I've ever been to ever.
Nice.
And I'll be back. I'll be back. Hey, no, that's fine. If Bonnie Lake becomes the center of the tourism universe in Washington, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you and me both will take over. Okay. So what I wanted to kind of put some of my fears to rest was I feel like I believe my house is large enough that it would be a decent unit. I can't house quite as many people as you. What's the square footage of this place?
2,100.
Yeah, and see, mine's only about 1,200, so it's smaller. But it has the 3 bedrooms. It has a 1.5 bath. It has a deck. I'll throw a hot tub in there. Try to curate a nicer experience. They can go out on the deck. It's not as large as yours, but they could sit out on the deck and enjoy the nice afternoon air. I get deer in my yard all the time. They're sleeping out there, so they have that same little interesting thing. They can. So the trees, much like you have these trees right here, there are paths that go straight from the backyard that go into the hiking trails right out my backyard.
Yep.
So that's an experience.
Oh, market that. Yeah,
market
the hiking trail.
Yeah. Right there. And so one question I'd asked earlier and I hadn't heard when you talked about marketing, about how pictures and then you write really well. And I would love for you to send me that description and I'll put it in the video. Do you make any videos?
I did when I first started. Okay, so before I opened, in that time frame of when the property closed to when I opened, which was probably about a 2-month time period. Okay, that's how much work needed to be done around here. And I was doing it myself, and I was traveling on vacation a lot as I do that. So it was a trick. So it took me 2 months to open. But in that time frame, I was very much into the social media aspect of it. I, started the Instagram and the Facebook and I'm like getting everybody excited about the property. And then by the time that I opened, I had done such a good job on the actual marketing of the website itself, or of the property itself, that it kind of just turned into it does it itself. Right. And I don't need to do that anymore. I was planning. I had properties. I'm sorry. But I had videos of me walking through the property, and over here I'm going to have the couch, and over here I'm going to have the TV. Like, the place was empty at the time as I was doing the remodeling, because that got people excited. Right. And I did have people that booked the second I opened for business because they had been following me on Instagram or Facebook. Cool. They were like, "Oh, this is cool. I can't wait for it to be open. I love tiki rooms and I love mid-century modern. So yes, I want to book there." And so having that thing and kind of making that social media aspect something that people will follow. There are people that make, I don't want to say millions. They make a lot of money off of one individual property because they do a really good job with social media, making that property stand out. Right. And you absolutely can do that, and it's valuable if you do. It's time for me to make a video. I have not put priority on it. People ask me, but realistically, the pictures do such a good job and the description does such a good job that it just hasn't been priority for me. Yeah. But I know you can do that, and I know you can even put that on on Vrbo's website. You can actually put a video on there that's kind of cool that people can see a walkthrough that way. And if I were to do that, I would have it professionally done. I wouldn't. I mean, I doing it yourself is great when you're doing the setup type of thing. Right. But if you're making a commercial like that, and let me tell you, I had actually, and I might still do it if the market slowed down to a point of me needing to really push more marketing out there. I have a plan for a commercial. It was something I created as I was getting the house together. I'm like, all right, let me make a mid-century. This is a house of the future, 1962, and over here, this is a microwave, and do this whole thing and have little Timmy asking a question, and all that, like that type of thing, and it would have been viral, because that's unusual, right? Having that mindset of, okay, how do I make this stand out from just the pile, just like any other business? So many people forget that this is a business, and when you hear 90% of businesses fail, it's because they don't look at the business in all of the aspects of it. And if you do, and you look at the marketing, you look at the competition, the pricing, and all that kind of stuff, you will do well as long as you have a business mind.
Right. Okay, so we've talked a lot about all the different things that I could think of in terms of your startup costs and what you put in and what you choose and select for different areas of the house with the theme that you went for. You did just recently say that it took you about 2 months from when you closed on it before you were open for business. Yep. My tenants are moving out at the end of this month. Okay. And I've been in the property. It's in good condition. I'll make a couple little minor touch-ups, but I don't need to do any remodeling. Okay. I am, however, going to have to furnish the entire property. Okay. So I imagine that probably the smart thing would be to start making orders on furniture now so that it gets in a little bit quicker. But what is the amount of time that you would think it would take for me to get up and running on the platform? And then number two, from when you finally opened up to when you were probably hitting your swing? Because right now you've got everything figured out. Did that take a month, 2 months, 6 months?
Hitting my swing basically boiled down to making sure that I had a good process. My processes and procedures were down for the housekeeper. And that was basically going from room to room, going, this is a living room. You need to do this, all 80 things that need to be done in the living room, and the 50 things in the kitchen, and and having that all down on paper and making sure that the housekeeper got to those things. Then the house ran itself. Dealing with the parties and how to make sure that I'm checking that it's a good customer beforehand as much as I possibly can. I will do that, and that probably took about I would say it was 2 months of having a couple of missteps in there about parties before I realized now what to look out for, and it's been perfect since then. That was the first couple of months, and it's never been a problem since then. The fact that you have this plan and you have a property ready and you have the capability of accepting furniture now, like if you bought furniture tomorrow online, that it could be delivered to your place and just throw it in the living room, put things together or whatever, and be like raring to go. And the second they move out, you come in there on day one and paint and have the pictures that are already framed ready in your garage to put up. I mean, theoretically, you could be up and running, within a week if you wanted to, if you planned it well, and in every single room from the blankets and sheets and how many towels you need and the pictures on the wall and all of those things that you don't think of because you're literally furnishing from scratch. It's when you grow up, you live in a house, you move from place to place, you furnish what needs to be replaced. Oh, I don't have a blender, I should buy a blender. But when you get a house like this or a property like that, you have to furnish everything, like to the toilet paper and paper towels and dish soap and soap for the dishwasher and laundry detergent and laundry sheets and bleach and just everything.
Right.
Everything. So a lot of it took going from room to room and going, oh, I forgot this, order an Amazon. I mean, I had Amazon packages, huge packages coming for weeks and weeks at a time, and I'd bring over here because I don't live here, and I would just put things together, and it took a while, but it was me by myself.
Right. Yeah, and I do have the benefit of I live right there.
Oh yeah, you
come
could
to my door and I walk it next door.
Yeah, no, I mean, and when I say a week, I mean that's if you kind of take your time doing it. I mean, if you start now and like really have that plan in place and just start filling the garage with things that you can literally spend a day furnishing the whole place. Yeah, I mean, it could be less than that, but getting things up, and that also means that you could theoretically. I wouldn't put my property up yet because you don't have pictures to take. So don't do that until until you get those pictures and you're ready to do that. But you can write your description now.
Yeah.
And although I didn't do that, I know that it'd be advantageous if you don't write well and you don't know how to market and you're bad at spelling and all that. Take advantage of Chat GPT.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Because all you have to do is say, write a marketing description for a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath with kayaks, a block from the lake, and mention the things, and it'll give you gold. Then you change and fix and all that kind of stuff. But that's what I do with a couple of my other businesses that I have, and it's like it saves me so much time to do that. And it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I feel like we could talk all day about Airbnb, but we do have to find some time to go take some footage of the rest of the house.
Okay.
So we're gonna do that. But are you open to having people reach out, ask you questions?
Absolutely,
like
yeah. Feel free. I'm probably the things we talked about. You'll have in the links.
Sure.
Below. Yeah.
I will put contact info for Matt down in the description below. Get an Instagram handle. We just talk on Facebook was where we talk. But seriously, I really appreciate this masterclass on starting and understanding and learning about an Airbnb. Thank you so much for spending the time chatting. This was over an hour and it's just chock full of good information. So I might even chop this up into multiple different because it's freaking good.
Sure, and feel free to have me on anytime. Like I'm a wealth of knowledge, even about just like marketing in general, or doing research and all that kind of stuff like that. Yeah, just been doing this a long time.
Matt is the man. He is a stud at our local Tacoma FI meetup. So if you are local in this area, if you're visiting Washington, make sure you do come to one of those because you can see Dion, you can see Matt, maybe you'll see me. But yeah, let's go check out some of the rest of the house.